All right, all right. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Dirt Time and Sports Talk. I'm Ryan here as always with my man Wally. Wally, what a week
What a
for
week.
baseball period. What a week. What a week,
Yeah,
man.
it's things are starting to really kick in. You're seeing pitchers and catchers report. People are showing up and having their normal owies that they get when they first show up into spring training. The
At least
Astros are
reports of owies, right? Yeah.
the Astros are not immune to that, but at least the Astros have not had a hamate bone break.
Oof. Yeah,
They've
at
had,
least.
had three major players. Jackson Holiday,
Mm-hmm.
is one of them. There's two other guys that have had a hamate bone. Anybody who's
Yeah, I've
not
seen
aware,
a couple.
hamate bone is a bone inside your hand that really does nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Really does nothing for the structure of your hand, but if it breaks, it hurts like heck, and you can't swing a bat. It's always on the bottom hand.
It becomes a hook, so that little bone breaks off and creates a hook on the inside of your hand, basically. So they have to go in and shave that broken hook off. Some people that don't play sports can still suffer from it, and they think that it's carpal tunnel until they go get checked out for it and realize that they have that hamate issue. So yeah, interesting. It's a thing. I don't know. I think some of the guys are trying to start to avoid it a little bit with the use of like this that axe bat that they've got
Is
now
that
with the
help?
different handles. That's what is supposed to be one of those things that helps with that. So, but yeah, when you get those guys, they hold that bat down there, but they don't keep the knob down at the bottom. Some of them hold that knob up into almost the palm of their hand, and that'll pop that hamate for sure. So, just ask Jordan Alvarez.
The
All right.
yeah.
So the Astros, yeah, did a little bit of work this week. Joey Loperfido is back in an Astros uniform at the expense of Sanchez, headed to the Blue Jays. And the Astros also signed a familiar name, yet not the Hall of Fame one, uh, with the last name Biggio.
Yeah.
So interesting. We can start with the Jesus Sanchez Joey Loperfido trade. Dana Brown said a couple of interesting things during the interview in which they announced that Loperfido was coming back. And one of the things that struck me as, I guess, rather interesting is he said, "We liked the direction that his bat was going," kind of indicating that he went to the Blue Jays and they kind of fixed something, even
Fixed
though
him.
he had a whopping 96 at bats or plate appearances in a Blue Jays uniform. What do you take from that conversation or that interview and Dana kind of bringing some of these things
I
out
don't know.
about Loperfido? They know the guy. I guess they're obviously
It
comfortable with bringing him
it,
back,
it to
but
me
it sounded like
it
fluff
to me
to me.
sounded like it sounded like Charlie Brown's teacher. the the to Sanchez to me sounded like the Astros Castellanos. They're going to
Mm,
get rid of the guy.
mhm,
And all the talk that was coming up, just like the Phillies, it was not going to. He was not even mentioned. Now, if whether it's fair or not, I don't know. But there's some really good reasons to make this deal. It's a similar production. And it's salary that's about a sixth of what Sanchez, almost a seventh of what Sanchez was going to make. So you clear money off the cap. Loperfido has options. When you look at the lineup and what the Astros projected lineup is, it looks like it's going to be Cole versus Loperfido for that last spot.
mhm,
And what it does do is develop some depth. Develops some depth that you can bring up off of Sugarland. Uh, Interestingly enough, Fangraphs has Loperfido playing 50% of the innings in left field. So there is a
mm,
talk of some people that he's going to make the team. He's going to play. He and Cole bring some similar attributes. Both of them can be high strikeout guys, and they can hit the ball a long way. They both are pretty quick.
Hmm.
Haven't seen Cole enough to see what he does in the outfield as compared to what Joey did. Joey made a lot of athletic catches, but the reason a lot of these athletic catches look so athletic is he took such god awful routes to the ball. There-
It's a familiar narrative over the last couple of years when it comes to Astros outfielders. We would say that stuff about Chas McCormick. We would say that when Dubon was playing the outfield. It seems to be a common theme with some of the guys that the Astros love to put in the outfield.
yeah. That being said, I'd make the deal every day, twice on Sunday.
Oh, absolutely, one hundred
I
percent,
mean, I think
one hundred percent.
Sanchez could be pretty good, but he hasn't. He was a guy in Miami, and one of the reasons they've got rid of him is they wanted Jacob Marcy to get time. Jacob
Yep,
Marcy got time, and Jacob Marcy was pretty good.
yep.
We'll talk a little more. We talked a little bit about the Marlins and the AL East last show, but you know, Dana said that they're not done. I wish he wouldn't say anything and just do something, because you
Just
wonder
yeah,
if
be
Dana's
quiet
trying to.
until you
Yeah,
do it.
you wonder if Dana's trying to be too perfect, and is the perfect get in the way of solid improvement. There's got to be another move made here, because the
Well, you freed up the 6 mil ish,
yeah.
and so you leave yourself now, according to Spot Track, the Astros have approximately 16 million this year before they hit CBT. So it gives them flexibility. Whereas when, if, previously, if they were only working with, say, 9 or 10, you can still get some stuff done with 9 or 10 million, depending on what you're trying to do. But 16 million, for example, gives them some money to pay down, say, a Christian Walker trade.
Could. I just think Walker's gonna stay. I think they saw enough
I
later
I,
in the
ag- I
season.
agree that the
Uh,
chatter's out there. They obviously reports last year and such over the offseason. Christian Walker's name is offered and he's available. Nobody wants him, but partially because of the money. And so now people are like, oh, 10, 15 million, pay down some of Walker's money. You keep Paredes. You bounced Walker. Now you've solved all of your problems as far as the infield woes of being overstocked.
well,
Um,
take Walker, take the names out of the situation.
hmm
When you get 16 million, you can go spend 10 mil on a piece and still have some money left
hmm
over for a piece or two that you can go get.
hmm
You see him. You see the Pirates that were shown as a potential destination for Paredes, for example,
hmm
to try to
Yep.
shed more salary and get some pieces. But
For
the
Blart.
guy they've got playing third now is a guy Triolo, who's a young guy,
hmm
and I think they kind of like him. And they're not going to take on 9 million. They're not going to reverse the deal the Astros did. They're not going to
Right.
take on that salary.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's no one's going to give it to you for free, and I think everybody's kind of licking their chops watching, waiting for the Astros get desperate.
Yep. Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, I don't know that this Loperfido trade really changes any perspectives as far as the makeup of the team and what it may really give Dana at least some oomph to make something else happen. But I think that freeing up that money obviously gives them a little bit more flexibility. And and obviously shows that they're kind of going and leaning more towards athletic depth and defensive
Yeah.
efficiency versus I guess Sanchez was kind of a raw power guy. He had a high average exit velocity, but he was really bad and had below average on base percentage numbers. So with
Well,
Loperfido, you're getting a guy that can slap the ball around a little bit, but you've got team control back with Loperfido
yeah.
now. You can kind of work on the kid, get his stuff going, and yeah, maybe over the long run, he's got a little bit higher ceiling than what you saw out of Jesus Sanchez. Sanchez hits right handers really well. Um, so I think this is one of those deals where, like, you could say, I make this deal all day long simply because when it comes to the chips that you have on the table, you're almost getting equal value out of the guys, and the money is way different. So,
Yeah, here, the thing about Sanchez, he hit it hard. He just didn't hit it enough.
right, yeah, yep,
I mean, he
yep,
had such a big swing and miss out of there. Back to what we were talking about
hello
with
playoffs.
Paredes.
Yeah,
Yeah, here's some things about Paredes where to kind of highlight where the unbalanced roster construction comes in. Then going into fan graphs, he had Paredes playing about 20% of the innings at third, about 15% at first, about 12% at second, and then at DH, there's 23%. So you've
hmm
got him playing a little under 70% of the innings, which, if somebody gets hurt, and we've had guys get hurt, maybe it's not going to hurt to keep him, but
yep,
I'd rather be able to add a piece that we know is going to help us rather than have $10 million insurance sitting on the bench.
yeah, I agree. Him and Carlos Correa had a little something to say about it. Paredes said, "I'll play wherever they want me to play, whenever they want me to play." Correa said, "You have five guys and only four positions." Correa's comments sparked I guess, a little controversy. He's like, "I'm not the GM, but I know that you can't play five guys in four spots."
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised to hear something of that nature coming out of Carlos Correa's mouth, especially having been brought back to be, the clubhouse guy, and the team man. What was your take on him dropping these Paredes comments? That didn't surprise me, but Carlos's comments surprised me a little bit.
Well, a few years ago, A&M had a guy, Drew Allen, play with Kyler Murray, and it didn't work out very well. And the problem
Hmm
was, you said both guys, A&M was rumored to have told both guys they were going to play. Well,
Yep.
and it's the same sort of situation, and that's not anything against Murray or Allen. It's just, when you come in there, you've got really competitive guys that want to play.
hmm
And Correa is only saying what we all know.
Right.
We can say, why don't you be nice? I mean, he's always been fairly outspoken. And so I don't think I think it's kind of a duh.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like,
Well, I just, I'm not the GM. I don't make these decisions. I'm not a GM. I'm just a player, but you can only play four guys. You got five guys and can only play four. I just kind of felt like from a guy like Correa, it would have been nice to hear, you know, we trust the GM, or we know they're trying to make the best out of what they've got. And we're going to go out there and do our best to make these five guys fit into four spots and win ball games with it. Whatever. I don't know.
yeah.
Twist the semantics into that, but as a fan, I really would have loved to hear Correa say something along those lines and be
Well,
encouraging about the fact that, hey, we've got depth. We've got strong depth. Look at what Paredes did. Look at what Walker can do. Obviously, we know what Pena Altuve and I'm capable of. And, between the five of us, we just know that it's going to produce one of the best infields in Major League Baseball this year or
okay, I get,
something. I don't know. Like,
I get,
come
I
on,
get, I get,
Carlos.
I get, I get that point. And if somebody gets hurt, we're going to be glad we haven't, like we said a few minutes ago.
Absolutely.
We used to
Absolutely.
joke around with Correa having, he was out for 2 weeks with a sprained hangnail.
Yeah. Stay away from the masseuse, brother.
Yeah.
Speaking of injuries, there were some of those injury updates that always come out at the beginning of spring training. One of which that Hader was behind schedule by probably a couple of weeks at least. They were kind of saying videos come out of him throwing on the ground, throwing flat, velocity in the 80s. So it doesn't seem as though he's that far off if he's throwing in the 80s from flat ground. But I think some of the fans and the chatter out there in the Twitter sphere, the X sphere, whatever you want to call it, uh, were a bit upset and surprised that he was behind schedule, considering how or considering the time frame in which they shut him down last year.
Yeah, the thing with shoulders is they're still a black art. Whether
Yep.
you like Tommy Johns or not, for most guys, within a range, you know about how that's going to come back. They're going to,
Yep. Well, and
about a
they,
year
I
and
guess
about
they
a
had
year and a
said what
half.
really is what they said really slowed him down was bicep inflammation.
Yeah, and that just could be is because he's ramping up and he hadn't
Yeah.
used that arm for a while, and as long
Yep.
as that shoulder's not getting sore again, then he'll be okay.
Yeah.
If he gets a little
Yep.
tendonitis in his bicep, just ramp it down and start bringing back a little bit slower.
Hmm.
The new training staff is going to be under a lot of pressure because
A
that's,
lot of pressure.
boy,
There are lots of eyeballs on those guys right now.
we're going to find out if it was Jeremiah Randall or not.
Exactly. Exactly. We heard that Yiner Diaz, a foot sprain,
No
something
big
along the
deal.
lines of a foot sprain. Probably no big deal. Just keep him off of his feet for a little while. I guess a lot of people were, oh, he's a catcher. Lower body stability, all that good stuff. The foot can be a really big deal, and the Astros, as of right now, backup catcher Cesar Cedeno or Cesar
Salazar,
Caesar Salazar, the Caesar salad. What did I say? Cesar Cedeno. Wow.
Cedeno, yeah.
I had a blast to the past there for a second, but um, I mean, I'm not worried about this foot sprain thing,
Yeah, I don't think so either.
but it kind of brought up the conversation of the whole backup catcher situation for the Astros again. And I love some Caesar salad, to be honest with you. I think he's a great defensive guy for this team, but his offensive ceiling is way below the potential of Yiner Diaz. I'm still a little concerned about the catcher position, especially the
I
backup
am
catcher
too.
position. Yep.
I am too. And the thing, what you hope at some time with Yiner is that he grows up and learns to control the strike zone. When he controls the strike zone, he's a beast. But
Yep.
when he starts
Swinging
swinging at
anything.
everything from
Yep.
Boston to L.A., he just he is the one guy the Astro have you can say he gets himself out
Yes.
more
Yep.
than anybody else. He gets himself out.
Yep. Yep. Let's see what else. News of Yiner or Jordan Alvarez, injury shortened season last year. Perfectly back to 100% healthy. Dana says he wants to primarily give him DH at bats and not play him in the outfield. I still see certain scenarios in which Jordan Alvarez is going to probably have to play some left field this year.
Yeah, I think he plays 40, 45 games.
Yeah, that's probably
Something
good.
like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Hopefully injuries don't make it to where he's got to, he's got to play the outfield more. Let's just say, for example, Correa has a leg issue. He can hit. That means
Hmm.
you gotta put Paredes out there. You can't move him around. Loperfido. Let's
Hmm.
just hope Loperfido, one of the guys, plays left field. If they don't have the year that they're expecting and they get desperate for bats, you put Paredes as a DH. You throw Jordan out in left field and say, don't go running across home plate like you did last year.
Yeah. Right. Good night. Good night. Man. So I guess a little bit of stuff around the league. More prove it deals continue to be signed.
Yep.
Zach Gallen signed a 1-year deal. This seems to be a common theme outside of some of the longer term deals that we didn't think were going to be signed as longer term deals, Fromber being one of them. Do you feel like because of the potential collective bargaining agreement lockout or whatever you want to call it next year why we've seen the rise on the prove it deals? Or do you feel as though there's kind of been a new invisible glass ceiling or threshold for some of these 34, 35-year-old guys getting these prove it deals, prove to us that you're not too old and you still have, XYZ kind of production in you?
Well, you've heard people say that there are no bad 1-year contracts. You know,
I mean,
it,
Bregman's wasn't. Jeez.
Yeah,
I mean, he
there's
made
no
an extra
bad
$40 million
there,
because he
there's
took a
no bad
1-year
one-year
deal.
contracts. What gets the guys on contracts is when you get a Harper deal and all of a sudden, or a Juan Soto deal. Look at that Juan Soto deal. Dude can hit, but they've got
Yeah.
him till he's 30, and he's going to be a DH here pretty soon.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's got the old Michael Jackson disease. He's got a glove
Yeah.
on one hand for no apparent reason. and
Oh,
and so they got him playing left field this year. They're out of right field. So you're starting to see that progression of guys. Fromber's 3 years. I think he can opt out after 2.
I think
Uh,
so.
they
Mhm.
don't, they're not tying up the payroll for a long time. So Gallons was interesting. He got exactly what the QO was,
Mhm.
you
Yep.
know. So they got him the QO, and he should be okay. He started to pitch better at the end of the season as time goes on. If he's not any good, you cut him 4 months into the season, and you eat 2 months.
Yep. Yep.
That's all you're looking at.
I think so. Yep. Justin Verlander back to
That's kind of a good
Detroit.
story. I guess that means he's going
It
to wear
it
the
it
Tigers
really
hat.
kind of is. I guess there's some assumption to be made there potentially. It's an exciting baseball story for a guy like Verlander to go close it out where he
Yeah.
started. It's fun. It's neat. It's great for Detroit fans who, despite these last probably 2 seasons, haven't had a whole lot
Mm-mm.
to cheer about since Verlander left. Really.
Yeah.
So I think that's fun. He's going to be there with Fromber, so familiar face there, and AJ and some of that kind of stuff that's going on there in Detroit. I know we're going to make our way around the leagues, but do you feel that the Fromber Verlander signing in Detroit, one, gives them a major leg up in the American League, and two, I think it's kind of interesting how it shows that maybe teams, despite what a lot of people say, at least Detroit has shown with those two specific signings, how maybe they're valuing veteran arms a little differently.
Well, you have to think that Verlander's going to be able to put a little whip into Fromber, and you know
Maybe, maybe.
because we can, when we get into the AL Central, we'll talk to the story. I don't know if we told about it last time, but they were talking on MLB radio is that Fromber's got his own idiosyncrasies. Like he wears tons of cologne.
Yeah.
We
Yes.
just, it's just like kind of these off-putting things. Maybe we'll get into, but I think, it's a good story. It's a
Yes.
it's a it's a good story. We'll see if Verlander has anything left in the tank like he showed the last couple of months of the season. It's a good place to pitch. Um,
Gosh, from the rotation of Skubal, Fromber, Verlander, Jack Flaherty,
Casey
Casey
Mize,
Mize,
Reese Olson's out for the season.
Reese Olson's done. Yep. Troy Melton. I guess this potential rotation there in Detroit. Man, I
Well,
mean,
we'll get into the NL Central here in
for
just a
sure.
second, but they kind of remind me of the Reds. The
Hmm.
Reds have really good pitching, but that lineup, is just not very good. You
Yeah.
got Ellie De La Cruz. So let's go through the Central if we got time.
Yeah.
Since we're
Let's
moving
let's
on.
do it. Let's do that. NL
Give it
Central preview.
what I do. What I do with these when I'm working on these individual divisions is I just compare the division against itself. We'll go position by position and just rank each one of the guys as 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So, the Cubs, for example, with the catcher position, the Brewers, William Contreras, I've got as the 1, Carson Kelly 2, Pedro Paez with the Cardinals 3, Tyler Stevenson 4, and Joey Bart at 5. You just run that through all the positions. You go through the bench players. You do the starting pitchers and 4 relievers, and you can get a pretty good feel for how that should shake out. It doesn't work every time, but the Cubs look to be the clear favorite.
I think
Uh,
so.
Michael Bush, Horner, Bregman, um, Kelly, Pete Crow Armstrong, Ian Happ, Suzuki, all their regular players are the top two players in their division at their position. The Cubs have some issues is their pitchers. Their pitching. You
Hmm.
got Imanaga, Boyd, Tyon, Cabrera, Cade Horton, if he comes back okay. Cade Horton could have some upside, but they're just middle of the road pitchers. What I see the Cubs doing midseason is making a trade. They feel like they're a top arm short. And with Bregman coming in, you've got a guy like Matt Shaw who's going to waste on the bench. I expect them to trade him, and it would not surprise me at all if you saw Shaw in a good minor league piece, go to the Marlins for Alcantara.
Yep.
That would
Interesting.
give them a top of the rotation guy that they can slot right in at least one or two, and that's assuming Alcantara is good. He showed signs of coming back. He was the first year back from a TJ, and so sometimes it's that second year where they come back.
Yep.
When you look at the rest of the division, the Brewers are doing Brewers things. They've
Hmm.
made a couple of trades of vets that are coming off, like Freddie Peralta's one of them.
Hmm.
They also traded Caleb Durbin, which was kind of a surprising deal. I guess they just don't think Durbin has a lot of upside. They brought back some players, some pieces from the Red Sox, but Durbin was just a rookie, and that's kind of a weird deal for them. But Freddie
Yep.
Peralta is right in their wheelhouse. Bring back young players, restock, always be restocking. They've got guys like Turang, Joey Ortiz, Frelick, Christian Yelich can still hit. Their pitching looks like it could be trouble. Brandon Woodruff is coming back. He's had a shoulder issue. Let's just see how he works. They got Kyle Harrison, who was one of the key guys in the Devers trade that went to the Red Sox that was traded over to the Brewers, and so they've slotted him as a 5. The Reds, like we said a second ago, they've got De La Cruz as a hitter, but De La Cruz is not that instinctive from what I've seen. But they've got a lot of middle and below average hitters, and that's a lot for their pitching to come up and to cover you. Hunter Green, Seager, Andrew Abbott, Lodolo, Chase Burns. That's a good staff, don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. I think so. It's going to be really interesting. I feel like this may actually end up being one of the tightest divisions in the National League, at least for sure.
Yeah, it could be. The Cubs should. I figure the Cubs win by 7 or 8,
Yeah,
but
I think you're probably right. I think this is a division that's decided by less than 10 games for sure. I mean, Pittsburgh's going to put a hurt on a few guys because they've done what we talked about it last week. Adding Ozuna. I mean, that's a 20 plus home run a
yeah.
year impact added to that team. Your rotation ceiling that remains kind of limited, but you've got quality pitching every other day at least coming out of Pittsburgh. Don't ever rule out the Cardinals. They have a way of winning games. They always have. They've got some young guys that I think are due for some breakouts and could really change the landscape of the division. The Reds, eh, you know,
Here's a
they,
here's a
they're
here's a couple
they're
of guys.
athletic, but
Here's a couple of guys for the Cardinals we want to look at. Is J.J. Weatherall, he's second baseman. It's a young guy. Big
hmm
year for Jordan Walker. Jordan Walker has been a
yeah,
can't miss. So for years and years and years now, he's heavier on the miss. Victor Scott is a good player. The Cardinals' arms are nothing. They've got
no,
Matthew Libator, Palante,
mm.
Dustin May. It's kind of fun with a red-haired guy like Dustin May playing for the Cardinals. Um, the and but
He
their
should be playing
arms
for the
are,
Reds.
yeah, but their staff looks very, very weak. The Pirates starting staff looks good, but their bullpen is not
Hmm.
real strong. Dennis Santana's their closer. and Gregory Soto is in that bullpen too, but he's just not near the player that he was when he was with Detroit. He went
Yep.
to the Philly and he was not good.
Yep.
So we'll do our predictions here in a few weeks, but I think you get kind of what we're trying to do is just give you a feel for what we look at and what can we expect in relative performance and how these teams go.
Yep. Yep. I agree. I think the big question is the big question with the NL Central is going to be is the Brewers window closed? Um,
You know, you think it is, but they're kind of like the Rays of the National League.
yeah.
But the difference between the Brewers and the Rays is the Brewers are still winning, and the Rays have been
Yep.
under 500 2 years in a row.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
I think it's going to be an interesting. It's going to definitely be an interesting division to watch for sure.
yeah,
Hmm.
that Caleb Durbin trade was really, really interesting to me because
It didn't
you
make
know
sense.
the Cardinal or the Red Sox needed a third baseman. Durbin's a little guy; it's like 5'7",
Hmm.
and I just wonder if the Brewers looked at Durbin and said, he had a good rookie season, but either he's not going to be durable or we don't see any more. We're selling high on the guy.
Yeah. Yep. Um, yeah. Again, I think it'll be one of the more interesting divisions to watch. There's a lot of youth in the National League Central. That's exciting. I think.
Yeah, I do agree with you that in its own way, it's going to be an interesting division to watch. I really do think sometime Matt Shaw's going to get moved because you've got Bregman there for the next 4 years, 4 or 5 years,
Hmm. Hmm.
5 years, isn't it?
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
he's there for 5 years, and he was your top prospect, and I don't think the Cubs do what the Cubs did. I don't blame them for doing it at all,
Yep.
but you got to be able to monetize that asset.
I agree. This is good stuff, man. I love this going around to each division here
Yeah, it's
and
fun
kind
doing
of
it.
bouncing through that. And if you guys, well, I mean, you guys have never seen Wally's spreadsheet. It is a work of art. And the information that you're getting through this and the stuff that he's plugged into that spreadsheet and the work that he's put into it, it's golden. So I'm excited to continue walking around the league and bouncing through these divisions and looking at some of those high impact and low impact players and moves and things like that that have that could end up making a huge decision in how the season plays out for a lot of the teams, and specifically how that might affect the Astros and where they end up falling in line. um, I guess my last question for you that I want to throw out, we're pretty much right at our stop time here, but with the signing of Cavan Biggio, which we didn't really get too far into that back at the beginning of the show here, um, d- does this indicate some confidence in the Astros internal development pipeline, or bringing in I don't even want to know what you call him, a quasi utility low offense guy, tell you that there's not a lot of confidence? Or was this, I don't know, was this a warm and fuzzy feel good move? They signed him to a minor league deal, so I don't think that there's a whole lot of expectation for him to get, or at least start the season on the big league roster. Depth move. What do you really see? What's the
Well,
point of signing Cavan Biggio for the Astros
take
other
it.
than we've got a Biggio name on a jersey again in an Astros
Well,
uniform?
take the name off the guy, and let's just
Okay.
talk about who
Yeah.
he is. Yeah, he's a feel good story if he could ever come up
Yeah.
and contribute. He's the kind of guy as you take the name off the back of him that you stash in AAA. He's not on the 40 man, so you got to do something. Someone's going to have to get hurt. But he's
Hmm.
also a guy that if you bring him up, if you bring him up, you're going to be able to feel certain that he's not going to be overwhelmed. He's going to play the position you asked him to. He's going to
Mm-hmm.
get you a few key hits here and there. He's not. He's long past the day where you think he's going to be a type of a player that's going to carry you. But
Right.
if you put him in right field, or you put him in left field, or you put him in first, short, or third, he's not going to embarrass you in the field. You
Yeah.
and he's got that
He's an
He's got the pedigree.
he's an injury call up guy, right?
Yeah,
Or a
he
lack
is.
of performance call up guy. I just saw somebody in the text thread that I'm in. Joey Loperfido still has options. It might be
Yes, he
one, it
does.
might be
He's
two.
got one.
So yeah, okay. So there you go. So I think that's an interesting caveat here too, with the signing of Cavan Biggio and knowing that you basically would have a chance to, Loperfido struggles and you need somebody that can cover the outfield and play a little bit of defensive Dubon. You've got that guy, and you could do a swip swap with those two dudes at least once through the course of the season.
Well,
Well, I guess
you'd have to.
technically that
You'd
would be
have to.
twice, but
Yeah, he could. But but with Biggio not being on the 40-man, somebody would have to pass through. Somebody have to
that's
get
true.
DFA'd.
Somebody would have
Somebody
to
has to
pass
get
through, or
DFA'd,
you've
and
got
who
or you've
that's
got
gonna.
somebody, or you end up putting somebody on the 60-day.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if he does that, that's it is. It'd be wonderful if he came up and had a solid season. But I think he's a guy.
Yep. Yeah. I think we'll have to see. I think tomorrow being Monday, February 16th, I'm pretty sure that all position players and major league camp invitees are due.
I think everybody's here.
Do it camp. So
Start playing in about 10 days.
we'll start seeing some serious action coming out of Florida and out of Astros camp. Interesting that Joe Espada said a few days ago, don't expect to see everybody all together. We're going to break the guys up. We're going to put them out with their specific coaches and get them doing some individualized work. Kind of a new tactic, new strategy for the Astros as far as how to handle the first part of spring training here. So it'll be interesting. We'll keep an eye on how things are going and update those of you who enjoy checking in with us on a regular basis. Any parting thoughts, Wally?
No, this is things are kind of going as they're going to, as you would expect them to. For everybody who's listening, we're working on 2 shows a week. We'll do Monday, Tuesday, somewhere in there, and then sometimes towards the end of the week, probably Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we'll just try to get things ramped up and try to concentrate on one new division per show. Then we'll start talking about individual positions.
Yep. Sounds good. All right, Wally. Well, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Few hours you have
Of it,
left. Yep.
whatever's left
And
of it.
and for all of those of you guys out there, I'm Ryan, and for my man Wally, let's go Astros. Have a
Let's
good
go
night.
Stros. All right.